Greetings and salutations. My name is Chance Kelly. This is Video Ghoulash. Welcome. Today I'm amped, stoked, and all the verbs to talk about Witch Nose candles. They came out last year and just came out swinging, delivering some of the coolest, raddest candles. Matter of fact, three of their fragrances made my top 10 best of 2024. So when Melissa and Chris over there, they're a small batch company if you don't know about them. They're out of Pennsylvania. Melissa is the maker over there. Melissa and Chris run the company. They're just awesome people. But when they sent me this light half of the year series, I was way stoked. This series has 8 fragrances in it. It's a little bit different than their stuff before because they are going to restock as much as they can with this. The past series, when they sold out, that was it. They were gone. Some of those will be coming back. I've got it on a pretty good authority that some of those will be coming back if you missed out. So don't fret there. But this new light half of the year series, they're going to restock it. It came out on March 14th, Friday. This past Friday. I'm shooting this video on Saturday. They sent me samples of everything, so I've spent as much time as I can with them to be quick about getting this review out to y'all. One of the coolest things about Witch Nose is the conceptual heart of the fragrances. So if you're into that, which I'm definitely into that, go on the website, read the concepts, not just the notes, because it tells such a better story. And when you burn these, that story comes to life. It's really rad. And let me sip my coffee instead of just holding on to it and waving it around like a magic wand. Peanut butter crunch is what I'm jamming on today. It's pretty good. I don't know if I would like peanut butter in a coffee, but there you go. The hell am I talking about? We're talking about Witch Nose Candles Light Half of the Year series. Get focused, man. What are you doing? I'm going to kick off talking about Siren. They sent me this. They know I'm a big fan of petrichor, and it was my birthday recently, so they hooked me up with a full-on candle of this, along with the samples for the rest of the line. Thank you, Melissa and Chris, so much for that. Let's dive into this. This thing's freaking amazing. The notes on Siren are nightshade flower, black vanilla, aquatic ozone, seaweed, ocean sediment, and minerals. So Siren. This is like emerging from the depths of a black ocean, with waves that could topple a skyscraper, with a thunderstorm, like a hurricane overhead, just smashing thunder, cracking the sky open. It's petrichor, it's ozone, it's sea salt and ocean water forward, but there's this gorgeous, that nightshade, the nightshade flower, the black vanilla. I don't even know that I could have picked that out. You just know that there's something pleasant as well going on beneath the surface. So Siren, conceptually, I mean, this is just jam up. This is a dark ocean scent. Sea salt and mineral rich. You can smell the sediment too, like from the ocean floor, like roiling, in the seawater, in the waves. The petrichor though, the ozone. I grew up on the coast. I love the smell of ozone. I love the smell of storms coming in. So you're talking, big ocean petrichor and this haunting kind of an ozone, like a storm that hasn't quite cracked the sky open yet and bled out all the rain, but you can hear the thunder and see the lightning just booming, rattling, coming out, from over the ocean. At the same time, though, there's this hint of this alluring nightshade, this beautiful black vanilla. It's like a feminine whisper, right? Like a siren song. Faint in the scent as well. The whole thing comes off really pleasant and grounding and a little sexy, a little alluring, mysterious, enticing. But it's also a full-fledged, vast, dark ocean scent with a big, mean storm. It's an ominous fragrance. Siren. So creep factor on this, pretty high for me. This I think is like an 8, because it's not just big mean storm. If you grew up anywhere near the coast or lived near the coast and seen what the ocean does, the ocean is terrifying. It brings that out of me. It reminds me of that. And I love that. It's one of my favorite vibes, one of my favorite things. I miss coastal living so much. I miss watching the sunrise and the sunsets over the ocean. But again, there's just something really ominous and scary about the ocean, and the fact that there's an alluring, enticing bit of feminine energy that is the Siren in there as well. Creep factor's at an 8. Throw on this is high. That's a high throw candle. 9 all day, maybe even 10. And my first impression overall, this is a 10. This is one of my favorite candles, and definitely a contender already for Candle of the Year 2025. It's the Green Man. This is Green Man. If you're not aware of the notes on Green Man, I'm going to tell them to you. It's green vegetation, sandalwood, patchouli, leather, and cannabis smoke. Now, I don't partake. No judgment. I grew up around, my dad was a rock promoter, and in the 70s and 80s, and a musician. You know what I grew up around. And then I was in a band. I was in bands, but, in a couple that were, did okay and been on tour and done all that stuff. I've been around it. Again, I don't partake, but I've never minded the smell of it. I've actually enjoyed the smell of it. So obviously it doesn't bother me at all. This is the smoke part of it. This fragrance, even if you're not into that, I don't think that that would turn you off to this totally. So you've got this green vegetation on this, probably at the forefront of this really is the green vegetation, and then the cannabis smoke. That's probably what you're going to get the most out of when you smell it. And we're talking green vegetation as in deep, viney verdant, that green, like shamrocks and clovers and green grass and vines. That kind of green vegetation, that nice, deep, bucolic vegetation. And then you've got a gorgeous cannabis smoke that is light, though. It's light. It's got that bit of sharpness to it that cannabis smoke has, but a nice smoky element holds it together. There's a magic here, though, in the sandalwood, leather, and patchouli mix. This is like a really well-balanced mix. Like, if you don't like sandalwood, it doesn't matter. If you don't like leather, it doesn't matter. The way that this is blended together, and it kind of has this perfectly pleasant, sweet, wooden leather incense, resin kind of feel. It's a really beautiful, beautiful fragrance. That mix with the green vegetation and the cannabis smoke, this thing is balanced so well that it becomes a whole vibe. And the concept being Green Man. If you don't know Green Man it's really old folklore. Look it up if you don't know about it. It's actually pretty fascinating. You might be surprised, as a matter of fact, how much the iconic Green Man face and that thing is out at your local stores in your spring stuff you put in your garden and whatnot. But the concept of this is dead on. It's just really pleasant, and it's in its most idyllic form, I would say. And look, I don't usually seek out this kind of note, and I've definitely ordered this. This is a really fantastic candle. We're gonna go with a seasonal score on this because it's not meant to be scary or whatever. Seasonal score, I'd give it like a 7. It's definitely warm weather. Like, I feel the summer vibes, I feel the spring vibes, but I could do this year round. I could do this one year round, but seasonally, yeah, it's also there. So I'm gonna give it a 7. Throw was about a 7 as well. Had a nice medium high throw. I'm just all a witch knows stuff throws. You always know it's on. And overall, my first impression of Green Man, 8.5. Yeah, 8.5. I'm gonna give it 8.5. I love it. I ordered it. I recommend it. Check it out. What's that voodoo that you do? This thing is awesome. Voodoo is awesome. The notes. Let me give you the notes. Notes on Voodoo are black violet, cypress, oak moss, saffron, sea salt, and smoke. It's a voodoo priestess, man. And she's sultry and sweet and mysterious and mystic and smoky and sensuous and dark. You got like a right out front, you get hit with that sensuous, dark, black violet. And then you've got this awesome, it's like a dusty oak moss going on. And then you're kind of struck with the clean wooden cypress. It's a beautiful, clean wood. And then you've got saffron, right? Saffron, it's kind of a leathery, spicy spice. And then there's this, you got the sea salt, right? The sea salt's like kind of bright and grounding. And then you've got a beautiful smoke at the end of it. It's decidedly Southern Gothic, coastal New Orleans, right? Vibe, fully realized here. I think this fragrance vibes arcane and soaked in some creep factor and some spookiness. It's a sultry, murky violet nectar. It's heavy and humid, ambrosial and zippy, haunted by an evil fog of smoke. It feels feminine to me, right? Voodoo priestess, but I think it's an intriguing, cryptic scent that's imbued with an untrustworthy, lustful spirit. yeah, I would say that. Voodoo, a black magic woman, to be sure. So creep factor on this, about a 7 to me. I think it's pretty creepy. The throw was a high medium, so I'm talking 8.5. So an awesome throw on it. And my first impression overall, I'd score this at like an 8.5. This is another one that I had to have in candle form. So yeah, Voodoo, rad, just awesome. All right, Spider Bite. This thing is really cool, man. Spider Bite's essence of absinthe. So you're talking wormwood, green anise, fennel. There's lemongrass, citron, black currant, and cassis with a hint of smoke in this. Spider Bite's a whole vibe. It's sure, I gave you the notes, but the sum of the parts is much greater than the notes. This fragrance is about the way that the wormwood, the green anise, the black currant, the citron, the cassis. It's the way that concoction molts into this. It's a mossy vibe to me. Mossy, sweet, musky. It's got a little fruit. It's slightly tart. It's the hints of citrus, vanilla, like kind of. Like a pinch of spice, but it's also got a whisper of grass in it. It's a musky, heavenly sort of, fantasy-like, like fantasy forest thing. Yeah, deep and complex, and it's got like the smoke or whatever on the end, the hint of smoke. It's vaporous. It's sort of it's back there. This isn't very smoke heavy at all. And don't mistake the absinthe or any of that for it being. It's not gourmand. Actually, as a matter of fact, none of these fragrances are gourmand at all. Strike that way. This is like think magic moss deep in a shady glen in a ancient magical forest, and this is how it vibes. Spider Bite, campestral, nature centered, nature-centered scent. And again, I'm going to say that about all of these. Never gourmand. These are more campestral, nature-scented, raw nature, outside, outdoorsy, vibing scents. Every one of them. But man, I love this. I love this spider bite. It's got a little creep to it. It's got like maybe a 3 because it's got that kind of shady glen. Like maybe there's like a troll, and it does. I don't know. Spider bite's a great concept for it too, because it feels like you're deep in some kind of forest in this magic moss, and there's anything could be in there really. So it's got this like hint of creep factor to it, right? But seasonally, this thing I would give it a 7 as well. I could do this any time of year, but for sure this is a warm weather months feeling thing, like you want to escape into this place, escape into something cool and in the shade, and get out of the heat. So that's how spider bite vibes to me. The throw on it, medium, about a 7. It's on solid throw. It's just the way that the absinthe, okay, and wormwood and that kind of thing, they're lighter scents. Same with like the moss, lemongrass, the way it blends together. More of a subtle fragrance, but definitely still throws at a medium to medium high at about a 7. Overall, I really enjoyed this. I'm going to shoot it an 8. 8 out of 10. This is another one that I ordered. I can't wait to burn it. But really cool fantasy forest magic moss spider bite. Next up, let's talk Bramble and Thicket. Bramble and Thicket. Yeah, it's so notes are tomato vine, wild blackberry, tea weed extract, and forest floor. And you've got this tomato vine out front. South of Sanity has a fragrance called Tomato Scarecrow, and this tomato vine note is similar to that note, but Tomato Scarecrow is a different beast altogether. This is a different beast altogether in Bramble and Thicket. This is kind of so you got the tomato vine out front. It's weedy, rooty, garden peppery, like a bell pepper, like that kind of vibe, and like a grassy knoll thicket scent. That's what this is. It kind of smells a bit like hot bracken on the forest floor, like in the dead of summer, man. Like this is a very hot scent. This is like the sun's beating down on the forest floor. You're smelling the bracken. You're smelling the soil. And you're smelling like this, like a tomato patch. And I mean, I can envision the brambles, man. I can envision the thorns. But at the same time, there's this really pretty, I mean, it almost is like a honeysuckle. So like the wild blackberry, it is, slightly sweet and tart. Kind of like the vibe of like a wild blackberry tea. Tea weed though is also bitter. And has like a bucolic punch to it. So this fragrance like reminds me of being in the dead of summer, being sticky hot and sweaty, maybe mowing the grass, being outside, with the insects around here. We got the no-see-ums and the chiggers and the mosquitoes and all the bees, and like I can feel that. I can also feel like that part towards the end of the day when I'm looking forward to it cooling off and seeing the fireflies come out, and I'm sweat drenched and sticky, and I'm ready for like a cool slug of water. You know what I mean? I'm probably dreaming of autumn's arrival. This is how strong this vibe is of Bramble and Thicket. I love the rooty, garden peppery vibe of this too. I love the hot bracken, the hot soil. It's not a soil scent. You're not going to smell that. You're going to smell the tomato vine, and you're going to smell the forest floor is more of like the weedy, rooty, garden peppery vibe. So I like this a lot. I'm a big fan of this. Seasonally, I got to score this a 10. I mean, this is like light half of the year. Yeah, that's a 10. And the throw on it, the throw was high. This thing was like at a 9.5. So I'll shoot that a 9 for the throw. It was a really strong throw. First impression overall of this, I would score this at a 7. I have this other candle from another company. I can't remember what it is, but it reminds me of it. It's I haven't burned that one either. It's a strong, earthy, kind of a bell peppery note in that thing. And it does. It reminds me of mowing the grass and then being in the dead of summer. And that's a good thing. I like that. I like that summery vibe and that decidedly, you know, out in the woods and in the grass and in the forest. So I'm digging it, man. I'm going to give that a 7. Alright, so we're going to talk about Deep Blue next. Deep Blue is fresh blueberry, raspberry leaf, basil, lavender, and patchouli. And this is such an authentic blueberry, fresh blueberry. It's an awesome blueberry. It's very blueberry forward. The incense is kind of at the back. When you melt it, the incense comes out more. There's kind of equal parts lavender. I'm getting a good lavender hit. Raspberry leaf, I'm getting a hit. The basil is way back there, just zazzing it up. The lavender blends so well in here that even if you're not a lavender fan, you might like this anyway. If you're not familiar with raspberry leaf, I looked it up myself. It says it's more of a tangy and green bitter with a touch of fruit, and that is 100%. Kind of some of the magic in here is that raspberry leaf. It's really great. So to me, this comes off like this sharp blueberry elixir that has this nice little hit of lavender that's encapsulated by a gorgeous patchouli incense. And I'm talking, the patchouli here's the velvety, fluffy, most pleasant type of patchouli that you can have. And that's blended, like I said, when you melt it, you smell it cold, you're going to get the blueberry mostly. When you melt it, the patchouli and that resinous, fluffy incense part of it really comes out, and it becomes this beautiful equal blend. And it gets sharper too with the raspberry leaf. The tang of it pops up, and the lavender kind of falls back. So you get this sort of I don't know, it's like got a hippie witch swing to me. Reminds me of wild berry patches and briars stuck in my clothes. It gives me those kind of summer vibes, I would say, to me. But again, like a hippie witch swing to it because of the patchouli, right? And even like maybe a wild berry tea, like way back in there. So yeah, I mean, if you want the whole vibe of it, to me, it's sharp blueberry elixir, slight kind of tea note bitter, very garden patch, very garden patch of a hippie witch because of this gorgeous velvet patchouli that encapsulates the whole vibe. It's groovy, baby. Very groovy, nostalgic, I would say. So seasonal, this is a 10. This is certainly a summer scent to me, maybe even late spring. But yeah, fully a 10 for seasonal. The throw on it was high. I'd say this is a 9. Solid 9 throw. My first impression overall, I would give this like a 7 to me. I love the patchouli. I love the fluffiness of it. And again, because this has berries and whatever in it, this is not gourmand. None of this is gourmand. This is wild berry patch in the heat of summer. Blueberries and patchouli, like you're at a hippie witch outside garden festival by a blueberry patch or something. I don't know, it's got that summery vibe to it, campestral, outdoorsy. I like it a lot. I'm throwing it a 7 because I dig that about it. I dig the nostalgia that comes along with this. I don't know why it's nostalgic, it just sort of is to me. But it's got this sharpness up top with the patchouli that I don't know if I dug it or not, man. Like, I just want to spend more time with this. What's problematic about, like, you know, trying to put some review out really fast is I want to spend more time with this. But I dug it overall, so I'm dropping it a 7. Let's talk about Honey Temple. Honey, okay, so I don't like honey fragrances, generally. And this thing is such a sensual, let me read you the notes. Look, golden honeycomb, Egyptian amber, temple smoke, and incense. I am in love, or lust, I could be in lust with this. It's a resinous, sensual honey nectar spiked with that sweltering collision of spices that's Egyptian, right? Egyptian is like Northern Africa and mixed with Persian. That's what Egyptian is. I mean, look at a map. You know what I mean? But Egyptian is very specific, and it's that sultry mix of vibes, that gorgeous notes that they have in their spices. That's in here. So certainly this is honey and gooey, but it's more of a vaporous, seductive, raw, amber-rooted fragrance, and it's got this gorgeous, peculiar depth and mystifying sort of smoke and incense. It feels both esoteric and erotically charged. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. This thing's like Stranger in a Strange Land, a sorceress, a succubus, man. And it's got that I don't know, man. I love the alien foreign vibe that Honey Temple has. So it's seductive and sexual and sweet, but incensey. And again, I find it really like an aphrodisiac, right? It like it grabs you like that, and it feels sort of dangerous that way. Yeah, Honey Temple was so surprising to me, and I ordered it, man. And like, honey stuff I love honey, don't get me wrong. It's not something I seek out in a candle. This is not something that I would look for at all. Such is the power of witch nose. They have a raw kind of eroticism to some of their fragrances, and Honey Temple's like that, so it's actually a little scary too. So I'm gonna give this a creep factor score. I'm gonna give it a score of 6. Yeah, I'm gonna give it 6 because I think it's definitely seductive in a dangerous way. The throw on it was really high. Say 9.5, almost a 10. Yeah, super high throw. So my first impression overall, it's tough, right? I'm gonna give it an 8. I ordered it. I cannot wait to spend more time with it. I love the collision of the Egyptian amber and the Egyptian spices. Again, that's the smashing of North Africa and Persia. And I grew up, actually, some of my best friends when I was growing up were Persian, Iranian, and I grew up, with their family and got to eat a lot of their food and just be, in their culture. And yeah, it has a cool vibe like that for me too. So yeah, big fan of Honey Temple. Shooting it an 8. Definitely recommend it. Go check it out. Even if you're not into honey, go check it out. It's something special. That's a aphrodisiac succubus candle. Haunting, sorceress, evil succubus, man. I'm here for it though. It's really good. Grab your shades. Get some SPF. You're gonna need it because the sun's beating down. I'm talking about Sol. SOL, like the sun. I like this more and more and more every time I smell it. The notes are sweet orange, chili pepper spice, coconut husk, and beach bonfire. To be sure, this is peppy and energizing, and right out front you get this gorgeous sweet orange hit with this nice spice that's just heating the show up, and it's the perfect amount. It's not overtaking, it's blended in there so well. And then you've got coconut husk. Okay, that's the helper note that's trying to steal the show here. Coconut husk, we're talking the outer hard shell of a coconut, almost like toasted coconut, but even woodier. I mean, think about a coconut being split open and how shredded it is and how dry it is. That dry, like a dry, dusty, woody kind of pull, but it's got that rich gorgeousness of a coconut. So it pulls the whole thing in both directions. It zazzes up the pop zazzes up that chili pepper and that orange, okay? And it grounds it too down the other direction into, like, I can picture a coconut tree and the coconut's down in that husk, that woody husk. That note is gorgeous in here. I love it. And then you've got beach bonfire. We're talking embers, hot fire. You can feel the heat in this. That's what's so cool about this. You can feel the heat in this. It's not a lot of smoke. Matter of fact, I don't know if I detect any smoke. It just feels like the flames of a beach fire. And so we got beach bonfire, right? And it pulls this tropical, like with the coconut and that, it pulls this tropical, almost like it has a Pink Sands note. If you're familiar with like Pink Beach by Goose Creek or Pink Sands by Yankee, it feels like that note is in there with whatever beach bonfire is. And I love that fragrance. And this feels like a rumination on Pink Beach, an orange, zesty, zazzed up rumination on Pink Beach with a gorgeous coconut husk, man. I can't get over how good it is. This one's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm feeling the straight postured sun just beating down on me. I feel the tropical vibes of this. And I just keep enjoying this more and more every time I smell it. I'm not much, honestly, for orange fronted things, but this is so much more than that. This is a whole vibe. Again, kind of like I said with Spider Bite, this thing's a whole vibe. I'll throw this at you as well. This has like a beach camp vibe to it, like camping on the beach or going to beach camp, surf camp, whatever, and in the tropics. And it doesn't have a suntan lotion note in it per se, but the way the coconut is creamy and fills out the top end and brings sort of that muskiness to it, it does vibe like some suntan lotion, like as a note within this mix. So very beachy in that way too. Seasonally, Soul is a 10. I mean, you don't get any more light half of the year than this fragrance. The throw on it was, I'd call it a medium high, about a 7.5, maybe even veering into an 8. Let's call it a 7.5, yeah, medium high. So nice, solid throw on this. First impression overall, I think I'm gonna shoot it a 7.5. I feel like though, this is one of those ones that like is gonna keep growing on me. Spicy, citrusy, sweltering beach vibes, Spicy, citrusy, very well filled out, rich, musky, husky beach vibes. And I'm here for it. I dig it. So Soul, another rad fragrance. I feel like I'm gonna eventually buy all of these. This is their strongest line overall. There's not one thing in here I don't enjoy. Even the stuff that I'm like, man, I don't know. It's stuff that it's mysterious enough where I keep going back to it. Melissa and Chris over at Witch Nose are doing rad things. So again, go check them out. It's launched. If you see anything sold out, they're going to restock. Don't worry. But use the code VIGGHOUL. It's going to get you 10% off. Tell them I sent you their way. Witch Nose Candle. And I know that a lot of rad stuff is coming up for them in the second half of the year as well. There's going to be returning scents, returning favorites, and I imagine there's going to be new stuff too. I know it. So Witch Nose Candle, thank you Melissa and Chris. Y'all rock. Appreciate your friendship, and I so appreciate this birthday gift of Siren. One of the, I mean, you picked it, right? You knew it was like Chance is gonna let me give him the petrichor candle. Yeah. Well, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. More to come. I'm gonna be doing lives on Saturdays. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna do it like every Saturday or anything, but I'm thinking Saturday mornings. I'm going to start doing some lives, maybe twice a month or, maybe once a month, something like that. Hope to see you all there. As always, keep it creepy, and I'll smell you later.